All right, class. So when we first started this project a couple of weeks ago, I kind of outlined everything for you in terms of where we were going with it, how many points it was worth. And I told you that eventually you would have a rubric in front of you every day that would tell you exactly what you needed to do to get as many points as possible, or up to 100% on it, because it is 60 assessment points. So today I want to talk a little bit about what that rubric looks like and all the things on that rubric, because in the next couple of class periods after today, we're going to be getting close to doing a rough outline of our poster and all the talking points that you guys will need for your presentation. And then after that, you guys are going to get a piece of poster board, and just like the posters that you see hanging up around the room, you guys are going to create a poster. You guys are going to map out your presentation, and then towards the end of this month, you guys are going to do your presentation. So I want to make sure before we get to that point that you have an understanding of everything you're being graded on and how many points those things are worth. That way you have everything you need as far as in the planning stages before we get there. Okay, so today, when you guys pick up your materials, you guys will pick up document 6 and document 7, which I'll talk about here a little bit later. But then you will also pick up a copy of the rubric that is sitting back under the Academy map. And at the very top of this, it says, do not fill this out. Teachers will fill this out at the end of the project. This is what I'm going to use to grade you as you guys are giving your presentation, and then as I look at your poster. So you are not going to fill this out. We'll talk about what I want you to do with this in terms of making sure that you have everything that you need later on. But what I do want you guys to do when you get this today is you can go ahead and just fill out this top part here. Okay, you can fill out the information, your block, your group number, and then your group member names. Go ahead and put that in there. Everything else, just leave it blank. All right, so starting with the poster, it says organization name. Okay, so, and you can see the rubric, it's either you're gonna, on all of these, you get 0 points or 1 point or 2 points or however many it's worth. So with the organization name, it needs to be something that represents the actual cause that you are trying to help. And then it needs to be visible. I need to be able to see it. Okay, those types of things. Your logo, which you guys worked on last class period, same thing. Want to see it's something that is representative of what you are trying to help, the cause you are trying to help, and that it stands out. We talked a good amount of time about logos and how important they are, and that if you look at all these posters around the room, that you can, on most of them, you can pretty well identify what their logo is right away. Slogan and or mission statement, and once again, these are all things that'll have to be on your poster to get full points. This is something we're going to work on today. A slogan is something that is kind of a short catchphrase, and a mission statement is something that is a bigger statement that's kind of what you stand for, who you are, where your moral compass is as a company, those types of things. I'll go into a little more in depth in the next video talking about those two things, since that's on one of the documents you're going to work on today. For these next 3 items, we jump up to worth 4 points here. It says, is color incorporated effectively? So I want you to think of this as like an advertising poster. If we were to hang these, if we were actually to create these organizations, okay, we had the money and the means to do so, and we were going to create these organizations, and you wanted to advertise them with this poster, typically more color the better. If we were to hang them in the hallways, something, it doesn't mean it has to completely be covered in color. I would ask you to, as we get to this point, look at the posters around the room. It doesn't mean that they are just head to toe, left, right, completely covered in color, but it needs to be there in order to pull out the details that you want there. Okay, so color needs to be used. Who or what is is being helped, is communicated. So I need to be able to look at that poster and know, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What is it you're helping? Are you cleaning the ocean? Are you helping homeless people? Are you helping veterans? Are you helping forest fires? What is it? Okay, and what is it that you're actually doing to help that cause? Fundraising ideas communicated and displayed. So we worked on that last time. You should have, if you're not done with that, you'll work on that today. But you should have 2 fundraising ideas. And so those need to be communicated and displayed on there. And then the last one here, worth 7 points, is the overall poster space used, neat, organized, and effective. On document 9, before we even get our poster board, you're going to have a rough draft of your presentation on one side of it, and then on the back side, your poster, where you're going to sketch out where you want everything, what do you want it to look like, exactly what are you going to say on there, what colors are you going to use. So you'll have that all mapped out. But once again, as you look at the posters around the room, most of the space on those posters is used. Okay, I would say about 75–80% or better, and it's effective. I can find the important information about their organization. It's neat, it's organized. You can tell a lot of effort was put into it. It was thoughtful. So those are things I'm looking for. Okay, the reason those posters around the room are hung up is because I kind of think that those are the vision of good. Okay, so those will be kind of some guidelines to kind of help you get to the place that you need to be at. So that's your poster. For scroll down to the bottom, your poster is going to be worth 25 points. Now for the presentation part of things. Each team member contributes verbally, is worth 3 points. So everyone has to contribute. The presentation is going to be between 2 and 5 minutes long. Okay, so at least 2 minutes will get you full points, and then typically at 5 points, we're ready to be done. So within that 2 to 5 minutes, every team member that is in your group needs to contribute verbally. It doesn't mean that everyone needs to speak 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, but everybody does need to contribute. Okay. Information is planned out and communicated well. So it should not appear as though you guys have not rehearsed this and that this is the first time that you guys have talked about how we're going to go about this. Okay, you'll have class time. Excuse me, you'll have class time to map this out and to figure out what are you going to say, who's going to say when, those transitions, and then even going out in the hallway and practicing things. But it should be smooth. It should be like a speech that you've rehearsed, basically. Okay. Speakers make eye contact with audience, just like we talked about with the job interviews. Eye contact is very important in everything you do in life. So you will have the ability to have a note card for each of you that highlights the talking points that you want to talk about or that you need to talk about. But the dangerous part about that is then you need to also make sure you're looking up at the audience while you're talking. Okay. And then speakers are loud enough for the audience to hear. So you need to be able to project your voice loud enough that myself, because I'm grading you, and then your entire class can hear you, and it'll be quiet in here. But some of you are better than that than others. Okay. And that's fine. But for a speech, for a presentation, you have to be able to overcome that. No different than in the job interview. If that was not a strength of yours to talk loudly and project your voice, you got to find a way to overcome that. Okay. And then are all the following topics covered effectively? So I hear them and I know what it is. Your organization name, slogan or mission statement, your fundraising topics, who or what's being helped or benefited, addressing opposition issues and stance. That is something that we'll work on next as well. That's document 8. And so I won't get into many details about that, but that'll make more sense when we get to document 8, and you'll need to address those things in your presentation. And then how will you get and keep volunteers? And that's something you've already worked on. So for the presentation, another 25 points. So between those two, you have 50 points total possible. Plus each document that you will eventually have will be worth 1 point. So your 10 points of your paperwork get you to your 60 points total that it's worth. The only reason that you would lose points off of that from that score right there, that's not on the rubric here, is if you do not hit the appropriate amount of time for your presentation. So let's say that you only hit 1:30, you're going to lose a little bit of points for that. If any of the group members were gone individually and they were not marked out as parent request or school activity, so essentially you just skipped class, you're going to lose some points for that. Or if within our few 3 to 4 weeks of work time here, I have observed one of your group members not participating and contributing to the cause, which I've told you guys now multiple times I'm looking for, that group member may lose some points for that. But overall, for the most part, by and large, whatever the group gets as a score, each individual will get that score. Okay, so that's the way the rubric looks. So today you're going to pick that up. You're going to fill out the top part here. And then this should kind of be your checklist or your guideline to making sure that you have all of these done and that you have all of these things effectively ready to go for when we get to our poster and our presentation portion of things.